Have you ever wondered why some forms of touch instantly make a woman feel closer, calmer, and more connected, while other forms of touch seem to create no emotional response at all? Most people assume physical affection is simple. They think touch is just touch. But according to relationship psychology, that couldn't be further from the truth. One of the biggest mistakes many men make is believing that physical connection begins with attraction. In reality, for many women, physical connection begins with emotional safety. Before affection feels meaningful, the mind needs to feel comfortable. Before the body relaxes, trust needs to be present. This is why two identical gestures can create completely different reactions depending on the emotional context behind them. Over time, many long-term relationships slowly lose this understanding. Couples become busy, routines take over, conversations become shorter. Physical affection becomes automatic instead of intentional. The relationship may still contain love, but the small moments of connection begin disappearing. In today's video, we're going to explore 7 places on a woman's body that often carry powerful emotional meaning. None of them are what most people expect. More importantly, we'll explore why thoughtful, respectful touch in these areas can strengthen emotional closeness in ways that words sometimes cannot. By the end of this discussion, you may never look at physical affection the same way again. To understand why certain forms of touch create such a powerful emotional response, we first need to understand how many women experience physical affection. For most women, touch is not interpreted as an isolated physical event. It is often connected to emotion, trust, attention, and the overall quality of the relationship. Think about the difference between a distracted gesture and a thoughtful one. A quick touch while checking a phone feels very different from a touch given with complete presence. The physical action may be similar, yet the emotional experience can be completely different. This happens because the brain is constantly interpreting meaning. It is asking questions such as, do I feel valued? Am I being noticed? Does this person genuinely care about me? Relationship researchers have repeatedly found that emotional safety plays a major role in how affection is received. When a woman feels comfortable, appreciated, and understood, her body naturally becomes more receptive to connection. When she feels stressed, ignored, or emotionally distant, even affectionate gestures can feel less meaningful. This is why intention matters so much. Meaningful touch is rarely about technique. It is about attention. It is about slowing down enough to communicate warmth, care, and presence. The 7 places we're about to discuss are powerful not because they contain some hidden secret, but because they often become symbols of emotional connection when approached with patience, respect, and genuine affection. The first place is the back of the neck. At first glance, this may seem like an ordinary area of the body, yet it often carries far more emotional significance than people realize. Throughout the day, many women unconsciously hold tension in this area. Stress from work, family responsibilities, daily decisions, and emotional concerns frequently settles here without them even noticing. This is one reason why a gentle, respectful touch at the back of the neck can feel surprisingly comforting. The key is not pressure or intensity. In fact, the opposite is usually true. A slow, reassuring touch often communicates something much deeper than physical affection. It sends a message of calmness, attention, and emotional presence. Psychologically, this area is associated with relaxation because it is closely connected to how the body responds to stress. When a woman feels safe and comfortable, tension naturally begins to ease. A thoughtful touch can help reinforce that feeling of security. What makes this gesture powerful is its simplicity. There is nothing dramatic about it. There is no need for words, grand gestures, or complicated techniques. It simply communicates, I'm here with you. In many relationships, those 4 unspoken words can be more meaningful than people realize. When physical affection is combined with patience, respect, and genuine care, even the smallest gestures can strengthen emotional closeness. And the back of the neck is often one of the most overlooked places where that connection can quietly begin. The second place is the upper back, particularly the area between the shoulders. This part of the body often carries an invisible burden. It may not seem significant, but many women associate this area with responsibility, pressure, and the constant effort of managing everyday life. Even when they don't consciously think about it, stress frequently shows up here physically. What makes this area special is the emotional message a simple touch can communicate. A warm hand resting gently between the shoulders can create a feeling of support that words sometimes struggle to express. It is not about fixing problems or offering solutions. It is about communicating presence. It quietly says, you don't have to carry everything alone. Many relationship experts have observed that emotional connection often grows through small moments of reassurance rather than dramatic romantic gestures. A thoughtful touch on the upper back can become one of those moments. It creates a sense of partnership and togetherness that many people deeply crave. The reason this gesture feels so meaningful is because it often arrives without expectation. There is no pressure attached to it, there is no hidden agenda, it is simply an act of care. In a world where many people spend their days carrying responsibilities, making decisions, and supporting others, feeling supported in return can have a powerful emotional impact. Sometimes the most effective way to strengthen a relationship is not through saying more. Sometimes it is through communicating comfort, stability, and understanding in the quietest possible way. And for many women, a gentle touch between the shoulders can do exactly that. The third place is the hands. Most people underestimate how emotionally meaningful the hands can be. They often think of hand holding as something simple or ordinary, yet for many women, the hands represent connection, trust, and attention in a very personal way. Hands are involved in almost everything we do. They comfort, create, support, and communicate. Because of that, they carry a surprisingly deep emotional significance. The difference lies in how the touch is given. There is a world of difference between casually grabbing a hand and holding it with genuine presence. A slow, thoughtful touch communicates that you are paying attention. It shows that your focus is not divided and that the moment matters. This type of contact often creates a feeling of closeness that goes far beyond physical affection. Psychologists frequently describe touch as a form of nonverbal communication. Through touch, people can communicate reassurance, affection, and understanding without speaking at all. The hands are especially powerful because they allow this communication to happen naturally and comfortably. A gentle squeeze during a conversation, a hand held while walking together, or a quiet moment of connection while sitting side by side can create lasting emotional warmth. These gestures may seem small, but they often leave a stronger impression than grand romantic displays. Many relationships become stronger not because of extraordinary moments, but because of consistent, thoughtful acts of connection. Holding a woman's hand with care and intention is one of the simplest ways to remind her that she is valued, appreciated, and emotionally connected to you. The fourth place is the area just behind the ear and along the jawline. This is one of the most overlooked places when it comes to affectionate touch, yet it often creates a powerful emotional response. The reason is not only physical sensitivity, but also the level of attention required to touch this area gently and respectfully. Unlike more obvious forms of affection, touching this area requires closeness. It naturally brings two people into each other's personal space. Because of that, many women associate it with trust, comfort, and emotional connection. It feels personal in a way that cannot be rushed. What makes this area particularly meaningful is the message it sends. When someone gently brushes this part of the face or neck, it communicates attentiveness. It suggests that they are focused on the person rather than distracted by everything else happening around them. In many relationships, feeling truly noticed is one of the most powerful forms of affection. Psychologically, small gestures often carry more emotional weight than people expect. Grand romantic actions may be memorable, but consistent moments of gentle attention are what build lasting closeness. A thoughtful touch behind the ear or along the jawline can create a feeling of being seen, appreciated, and cared for. The key, as always, is patience and respect. Affection should never feel forced or rushed. When this gesture comes from genuine warmth and emotional presence, it often creates a sense of intimacy that has very little to do with romance itself and everything to do with connection. Sometimes the smallest expressions of attention become the moments a woman remembers most. The fifth place is the inner leg near the knee. This area is often misunderstood because people assume that physical closeness must always carry a deeper intention. In reality, what makes this area meaningful is not intensity, but patience. For many women, this type of touch communicates comfort, trust, and emotional safety when approached respectfully. The area near the inner knee is rarely the focus of attention, which is exactly why it can feel so personal. A gentle touch here often feels calm rather than overwhelming. It creates a sense of closeness without creating pressure. In healthy relationships, that balance is incredibly important. Emotional connection grows best when affection feels natural and unhurried. Many women describe meaningful touch as something that allows them to relax rather than perform. They want to feel appreciated as a person, not rushed toward an expectation. A thoughtful gesture in this area can communicate exactly that. It says that the moment itself is valuable and that there is no need to hurry. Psychologically, patience often strengthens attraction and emotional bonding. When affection is given without demands, people feel safer and more connected. The nervous system responds positively to calm, respectful interactions because they create a sense of trust. What makes this gesture powerful is its simplicity. It reminds a woman that closeness is not always about intensity. Sometimes it is about comfort. Sometimes it is about feeling secure enough to simply enjoy another person's presence. And in many long-term relationships, those quiet moments of comfort become the foundation of lasting emotional connection. The sixth place is the lower back. This area may not receive much attention in everyday conversations about affection, yet it often carries a powerful emotional meaning. For many women, a gentle touch on the lower back creates a feeling of support, reassurance, and closeness. It is one of those small gestures that can communicate a great deal without a single word being spoken. One reason this touch feels so meaningful is because it often occurs during ordinary moments. Walking together, standing side by side, or moving through a crowded space are all situations where a hand placed gently on the lower back can feel natural and comforting. The gesture is subtle, but the message behind it is strong. It quietly communicates, "I'm with you." Psychologists have long recognized that people respond positively to signals of stability and security. A thoughtful touch in this area often reinforces those feelings. It creates a sense of emotional support rather than physical control. The difference is important because genuine connection grows from trust, not pressure. What makes the lower back unique is that it combines physical closeness with emotional reassurance. It does not demand attention, it does not interrupt the moment. Instead, it blends naturally into everyday interactions while still making a person feel noticed and valued. In many long-term relationships, it is these small, consistent gestures that keep emotional bonds strong. A hand placed gently on the lower back can become a quiet reminder that someone is present, supportive, and genuinely invested in the relationship. Sometimes the most meaningful forms of affection are also the simplest. The seventh place is the lower stomach area, approached with care, trust, and complete respect. More than almost any other area we've discussed, this one carries emotional meaning because it is closely connected to vulnerability. It is not powerful because of physical sensitivity alone. It is powerful because it often represents a deeper level of comfort between two people. For many women, trust is not built through grand declarations. It is built through repeated experiences of feeling safe, respected, and emotionally understood. A gentle, appropriate touch in this area can sometimes communicate those feelings more clearly than words. It signals patience, it signals care. Most importantly, it signals that the relationship is built on mutual trust rather than expectation. Psychologists often note that emotional intimacy grows when people feel secure enough to lower their defenses. This area of the body can symbolize that process because it is associated with personal space and emotional openness. That is why respect and consent are absolutely essential. Without trust, the gesture loses its meaning. What makes this touch meaningful is not the location itself, it is the intention behind it. When a woman feels genuinely valued and emotionally safe, even simple gestures can strengthen connection. The goal is never to create a reaction. The goal is to communicate care. In healthy relationships, affection works best when it comes from a place of genuine appreciation. And when trust has been built over time, even the smallest expressions of warmth can deepen emotional intimacy in ways that neither person expects. As we bring everything together, an important pattern begins to emerge. None of these 7 places are powerful because they are secret. They are powerful because of what they communicate. The back of the neck, the shoulders, the hands, the area behind the ear, the inner leg near the knee, the lower back, and the lower stomach all share one thing in common. When approached with respect and genuine care, they communicate emotional presence. This is where many relationships quietly struggle. It is not always because love disappears. Often it is because couples stop expressing that love in small, everyday ways. Life becomes busy. Responsibilities increase. Routines take over. People begin assuming their partner already knows how they feel. Yet emotional connection requires ongoing communication, and touch is one of the most powerful forms of that communication. The strongest relationships are rarely built on grand romantic moments alone. They are built on consistent gestures that make both people feel seen, valued, and supported. A thoughtful touch, a warm hand, a moment of undivided attention. These things may appear small, but their emotional impact can be enormous. The real lesson is not about learning techniques. It is about learning a language. Affection is a language. Presence is a language. Care is a language. And like any language, relationships become stronger when it is spoken regularly. Before you leave, tell me in the comments which of these 7 places surprised you the most. And if you found this discussion helpful, make sure you subscribe for more insights into female psychology, relationships, emotional connection, and human behavior. Sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest changes.